So this turns into this, and then I wedge it and turn it into this so I can use on any of my future projects. Super easy, super simple. I'm getting some questions about what I do when I run out of clay. So I do normally buy clay from Continental Clay. I usually just buy low fire white clay. When I was in college, I was making tons and tons and tons of projects, and after every project or during every project, if there were any pieces that were broken off or anything I couldn't use, I would put it into a container. And at the very end, after 2 years, I had filled almost probably like a 40-gallon container full of things. I tend to use the clay that's already made, but if I ever run out of that, or I just want to use some other different types of clay, I will show you what I do. Okay, don't mind the mess around me, but this is the container I was talking about that I put all my projects in. Didn't work out. So, smells lovely. It's so nice to get all this clay essentially back for free. I need to stick my hands in here and kind of mash it up, which sometimes is fun, sometimes is disgusting, and I don't want to do it. I don't know how I feel today, but for the sake of the video, you're gonna get to see. Gross. See, it's quite moldy in there. Oh, really moldy actually. I mean, there isn't always going to be mold, but when you're working with something that's normally in the earth, it's going to be able to hold a lot of organisms. Okay, it's pretty much not going to get much more broken down than what I'm doing right now. I should mix it definitely a bit more, but I'm going to do that another day. So for now, what I do is I just take a scoop, put it on here till it's full. So I'll leave this here just sitting as is, nothing wrapped on top of it for about 12 to 36 hours normally. I know I'm going to be back in my studio in about 18 hours, so it should be fine to sit out that long. It just really depends on how warm, cold, humid, dry, like all those things affect it. So right now we have a wood burning stove going, so it's a bit warmer. So I think it would need a little less time than the 2 days for sure. I'll check back tomorrow and let you know how it looks. Alright, it's the next morning. We are going to bring it to my wedging table, and then I'll show you what I do. A little soft still, but I think I can wedge this up pretty good. And if it's still a little bit too wet, I'll just put it back on here for a little bit longer. Alright, this is too big of a piece to do all at once, so I am going to cut it in half. So it's still a little sticky, which makes it not very easily wedgeable, if that's a word. Usually you can keep going. Alright, so this clay is definitely still a little too wet to wedge or do anything with. It doesn't have too many chunks in it, which is good. But at the same time, she's not ready. I'm gonna put it back on that plaster bat, and tomorrow we will try again. Alright, it's almost been about 48 hours. The clay is definitely at a point where I'm ready to wedge it. Now when I push into the clay, my fingers don't come out sticky. I don't know if you can see in the camera, but you can see there's a lot of different clay bodies that are mixed in here. So I just need to wedge this all up, get everything well mixed in, and then this will be ready to use. You can tell it's getting a little bit better. I need to get a table that is secure and stable for wedging, but for now it works. It just is annoying that it keeps moving. I'm doing the ram's head version of wedging. I wish I could spiral wedge. I'm just not good at that, so I stick to this. At this point, the clay definitely starts getting a little bit harder to work with when it's a bigger piece. Ooh. But I do prefer to store my clay into one big piece rather than a bunch of separate pieces. Helps it not dry out as fast. Okay, there's one. So this turns into this. And then I wedge it and turn it into this so I can use on any of my future projects. Super easy, super simple. Thanks for taking the time to watch today's video if you did, and I hope you have a great rest of your day.